Welcome to my top 10 favorite movies of 2018. I feel like I couldn't really do a best yet because I haven't seen a lot of good movies, including A Star is Born, Sorry to Bother You, If Bill Street Could Talk. So I'll just leave that list for another day or not even do it. But let's get into what my personal favorite is. And these aren't necessarily the movies that I think are better than the other ones, just my personal favorite. So number 10 is The Incredibles 2. The sequel to The Incredibles, which was one of the greatest superhero movies of all time, isn't as good as the first, but it's still a really great movie. If you would have told me a year ago that one of the best action scenes in any movie would be a baby fighting a raccoon, I would have said you're crazy, but I would believe it if you said it comes from The Incredibles, and that scene is absolutely great. The animation in this movie stepped up even more from the first movie. I think this movie does borrow a lot of story elements from the original one, but it still can stand out on its own, and it's still a great addition to Pixar movies. So at number 9, I have Klansman, directed by Spike Lee. This is absolutely my favorite Spike Lee movie. I think he does a great job really exploring the difference between what black power is and white power. And some people might think both of those things are somewhat racist, but he shows that black power is about empowering your community, while white power is about overpowering other communities. Black power is about education and celebration of your culture, while white power is about crippling other cultures and really all about yourself. And I think he did an absolute wonderful job of exploring that, especially needed for today's society, I think, to always go back and see where we came from to see how far we can go. All right, at number 8 is Mission Impossible. Now, I really don't love any of the previous Mission Impossible movies, but this one directed by Christopher McQuarrie is just knocked it out of the park. Cinematography wise, it was great. It had, story wise, had a lot of twists and turns. Tom Cruise, I think, continues to just kill it in these roles. I mean, he does his own stunts. It was a fantastic movie to look at. So really kudos to them. At number 7 is Love, Simon. I'm a sucker for coming of age stories, especially stories where the main character feels a little out of touch. I mean, he is very human in this role. I think he did a great job portraying just how kind of lonely and adrift he is compared to his family and friends, and just how brave he is to face these certain challenges. And the reason that this movie, I think, stands out so much is that this is real life things that people go through. And I think it did a great job of telling that story. All right, at number 6 is Avengers Infinity War. I did absolutely enjoy this movie. One of my drawbacks from it, it's not higher on the list, is that I don't buy it. Like, I don't believe it. No matter how the ending is, no matter how it looks, I'm like, it's not gonna last. Everybody's coming back. But besides that point, it is a fantastic movie. The action is incredible. It is a joy seeing all these characters come together and just interact with each other, especially Star-Lord and like Peter Parker and Iron Man. Even though I don't even love Iron Man all that much, I really liked him in this movie, probably more so than other ones. Maybe because they toned down the comedy a little bit in this one, I think, and they didn't put it in, bad spots. You can't really laugh about your best friend being disintegrated into a million particles. So I think this was a great movie. At number 5 is Bohemian Rhapsody, which I absolutely love Queen. I'm not a fanatic of it, but I just love their music. And Rami Malek did a great job portraying Freddie Mercury. I mean, he just embodies that character. The way he commands the stage is just an awe to look at. I mean, watching this movie, it's like going to a Queen concert. It's the best thing you can do, especially nowadays. I mean, because unfortunately Freddie Mercury has passed away, and Adam Lambert is not a Freddie Mercury. And so it was just a great experience, great story. And I love the moral of stories that, like what my favorite Queen song, Somebody Love, you got to find that somebody to love. And that could be either your best friend, your ex-wife, your friends, your close group knit, your family. Just love that aspect of the story. So coming at number 4, speaking of that, speaking of love, is Instant Family. I did not think I would just love this movie the way I did. This movie is probably the most emotional I think I got in a movie this year. I mean, Mark Wahlberg plays Mark Wahlberg, and Rosamund Bryan plays Rosamund Bryan, but they have great chemistry together. I just love the story of them adopting a family. Foster children have a special place in my heart, so that's just a great story, great message. I hope it inspires people to go out and maybe mentor or foster children or adopt whatever you can do, you know, like I said, it takes a village. All right, at number 3. Now, this is an absolute great year for comic book movies. I think 2018 is the best year of comic book movies since 2008. I think it's better than 2008. In 2008, we had The Dark Knight, we had Iron Man, we had The Incredible Hulk, we had Hancock, I think we had some other superhero movie. Those movies really set the bar high, especially for that year. I think 2018 knocked it out of the park. Not only did we have great comic book movies, but they were diverse movies. I mean, my top 3 lists here are all comic book movies, and none of them star a white male lead. Like, that is unfathomable, you know, a couple of years ago. So let's start with number 3. At number 3 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Absolutely love the story. The animation is beautiful. It's like nothing we've ever seen before on screen. And even though the animation is out of this world, the characters feel more real here in this animated movie than they ever have in any other live action comic movie, I think. Miles Morales feels like a character feels like a person that you'll walk by in New York City. He feels like a student, you know, and Peter Parker feels like he's actually going through things. These characters have never been more human than here. At number 2, it is coming down to the kings. Number 2 is Aquaman. Aquaman, fantastic movie. Completely blew all my expectations out of the water. It was amazing visually. It was just an awe to look at. I've seen it twice in theater. I think I'll actually go see it 3 times. I've seen the movie 3 times in theater since The Dark Knight Rises. It is that good. It's that visually great. And not only are the visuals great, but the story is good. Jason Momoa goes on a clear arc in this story. He goes from being this BA character who's kind of, you know, always punch first to being the character who might show some mercy and compassion. And that was just a great character arc. I love Mara in this movie and how their relationship goes. And Black Manta here, he is just a BA. Love him. Can't wait for him in the sequel. But movie is great. The score was amazing. So Aquaman deserves to be in one of the top spots. But at number 1 is, without a doubt, Black Panther. Black Panther, while I think it lacks a little bit on the action, has good action, but the story it told, I think, was one of the greatest stories ever told in comic book. Probably second to something in the Dark Knight trilogy. I mean, just the layers that Ryan Coogler worked with here. I mean, he talks about Western colonization. He talks about the Black community and how you deal with being disconnected from the motherland, how to deal with just all these different things. And no other director could have that type of voice in this movie. Chadwick Boseman played Black Panther the best in this role. And the MVP of this movie, though, goes to Eric Killmonger. I mean, he completely stole the show, I think. He's justified in his quest, but you still don't necessarily root for him, but you do empathize with him. I mean, he is what happens when a child doesn't get love. And that story is just so, so important. So Black Panther, amazing. Loved it. I love just seeing, Black people on screen, love being represented. And it just did that to the fullest. Love seeing Black excellence. All right, so that's my top 10 of my favorite movies of 2018. FY, my favorite movie last year was Coco. And next year in 2019, the 4 movies, it's pretty much only 4 that I'm really looking forward to. Number 1 is probably Glass. M. Night Shyamalan is fully redeeming himself. And I love Unbreakable. It's one of my favorite comic book movies of all time. I thought Split was great. James McAvoy is just putting on a clinic on how to act. And Samuel Jackson's going to focus on him on this movie, I think. And that should be really good. Then The Joker, I'm really curious to see what Joaquin Phoenix does with that role. And I think they'll be really experimental with it, which I find that to be a good thing. And you have your live action adaptations, Lion King, it's going to be amazing. And then also Aladdin. All right, so that's my list. Let me know yours. And that's it. Sincerely, thank you for watching. Have a happy new year. I'm out.